Look at me, son. It's not your fault.
I know.
It's not your fault.
I know.
No, you don't. It's not your fault.
First things first, a massive congratulations to the Florida Panthers on winning their first Stanley Cup in franchise history. As someone who's had the privilege of seeing their team win the Stanley Cup for the first time in franchise history, it's a feeling that you're never going to forget. And the Panthers, who have long been the butt of the joke in the NHL, have rebuilt themselves over the last half decade and are truly one of the powerhouses in the NHL, deserving that win. But my focus tonight is not on the Florida Panthers and their deserving win, but instead on the guy who did not win the Stanley Cup, but won the consolation prize of the Conn Smythe Trophy, Connor McDavid. Already, I'm seeing a lot of hot takes out there about how Connor McDavid won't win the big one, how this affects his legacy, whether he was deserving of winning the Conn Smythe, and I just have to say, stop it. I know everybody's going to point to 0 points in the last 2 games of the Stanley Cup Finals. They're going to point to how absolutely gassed he looked at the end of the series and how unimpactful he was in Game 7. But you know what? It's not his fault. Did he fail to score a point in the last 2 games of the series? Sure, but he also scored 8 points in 2 games when the Edmonton Oilers' backs were against the wall. He scored more points in one playoffs than anybody in NHL history not named Gretzky or Lemieux. He took over games, just unfortunately not the ones that mattered most, and that's not entirely on him. Florida tonight absolutely made it their one goal in life that they would not let Connor McDavid take over this game, and they did that perfectly. They shut him down, and they forced guys like Draisaitl, who had 0 goals in the series, and Nugent Hopkins, and Fogel, and Hyman to beat them, and those guys couldn't do it either. The Stanley Cup is an impossibly hard trophy to win. Only one team wins it each year, and to do it even once is a massive accomplishment. And the reasons that it happens for a player or doesn't happen for them is largely out of their control. Stuart Skinner had been better in those first 3 games of the series. If the puck bounces differently on him in front of the net in Game 7, if Evan Bouchard's shot that hit the post is a few inches inside, it's a million little things that add up to one team winning and one team losing. And in a 7-game series, in a single game, those little things matter even more. As much as fans might disagree, the Stanley Cup doesn't always go to the best team. In fact, it rarely goes to the best team. It goes to the team that played the best at the right time, that got the lucky breaks when they had to, that had the hot goalie, that got the right calls, that had the coach that made the tiny little adjustments and swapped the lines around. Connor McDavid leaves the rink tonight with as many Stanley Cup champions as you and me. But if you try to tell me that makes him any less of the best hockey player walking the planet right now, because fate, because of luck, and because a damn good hockey team opposing him said it wasn't to be, well, you just don't know puck.